Have you ever been walking along and suddenly forget what you were about to do? You stand in the middle of a room, dazed, feeling as if the command in your brain was just deleted by an admin from above. We often call it a momentary lapse, but in simulation logic, perhaps it's just connection lag or a patch update being installed into your consciousness. Stop thinking that this world is a solid and independent place. According to modern scientific logic, the more we dissect reality down to the smallest particle level, the more this world looks like computer code. There are speed limits, there are resolution limits, and most terrifyingly, there is a rule that this reality only reveals itself when someone is watching. Today, we will dissect 6 reality anomalies so bizarre that they've made the smartest scientists on Earth start asking, are we living in a simulation? We will look at scientific bugs that shake the logic of matter. Prepare your skeptical logic. Let's break them down one by one. Double slit experiment, the user-dependent rendering protocol. We begin with the experiment that frustrates physicists the most, the double slit experiment. The logic is this: scientists fire particles, electrons, at a board with 2 slits. Logically, those electrons should land as small grains, particles. However, when no one is watching, those electrons change their nature into waves and pass through both slits simultaneously. But as soon as scientists install an observation tool or a sensor to see which slit the electron passes through, the electron suddenly realizes it's being watched. It immediately turns back into an ordinary particle. Your POV now is, imagine you're playing an open-world game. The computer won't render or display details of trees in a forest if your character isn't looking in that direction. The goal is to save memory. Our world is the same. Reality only solidifies when there is an observer. This is logical proof that our universe has a rendering efficiency system very similar to modern game engines. The Mandela Effect, the collective database glitch protocol. Have you ever been absolutely certain that a brand logo or a cartoon character had a specific detail, but when you check it now, that detail never existed? Or you're certain a world figure died in prison in the 80s, when in reality they only passed away in 2013? This is the Mandela Effect. The logic is a database glitch. Large numbers of people collectively have the wrong memory about the same thing. In a simulation, this could be a sign that our reality's server once crashed and the admin had to perform a data restore, but some memory files were swapped or out of sync with the main server. Your POV, you feel your world has changed, when perhaps it is your memory that is accessing a cache from a previous simulation version. The Mandela Effect dictates our logic that the past might not be as permanent as we think within the universe's data storage system. Quantum entanglement, the shared variables protocol. Albert Einstein called this phenomenon spooky action at a distance. There are 2 particles that are entangled. Whatever happens to particle A, particle B will instantly feel it at the same time, even if the distance is 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers at the end of the galaxy. In classical physics logic, this is impossible because information cannot move faster than light. But in simulation logic, this makes perfect sense. The logic is shared variables. Those 2 particles are actually the same line of code within the program. Distance in the game is just a visual illusion, whereas in the simulation processor, both particles exist at the same memory address. Your POV, you press a button on one side of the screen and the object on the other side of the screen changes instantly without delay. Quantum entanglement is proof that space and distance might just be graphical parameters that don't apply to reality's base code. Placebo Effect, the software override hardware protocol. In the medical world, there is an anomaly called the placebo effect. Someone who is severely ill is given a fake pill, just flour or sugar, but is told it's a miracle drug. Miraculously, that person's body actually heals. The logic is mind over matter. Systemically, this is a sign that your software, thoughts or beliefs, has admin access to override or force changes on your hardware, physical body. Your POV, you input a cheat code through suggestion, and your biological system responds immediately by repairing the corrupted lines of code. disease. If this world were purely rigid matter, flour shouldn't be able to heal an infection. But because this world might be information-based, belief is a very powerful data input to change the status of your physical system. The nature of time, the processing speed protocol. Einstein proved that time is not constant. The faster you move or the closer you are to massive gravity, the slower time runs for you. The logic is time dilation. In a simulation, this is similar to processing speed or processor workload. When an object moves close to the speed of light, the simulation system must perform much heavier calculations to maintain physical consistency. So the system slows down the flow of time in that area to prevent the processor from overheating. Your POV, you go to outer space for a year, and when you return to Earth, all your friends have all grown old. You just experienced a frame rate difference between servers. Relativity dictates our logic that time is not the eternal heartbeat of the universe, but a variable that can stretch depending on the system workload at your coordinates. The minimum limit, the reality pixel resolution protocol. If you have a digital photo and you keep zooming in, eventually you'll find small squares called pixels. You can't zoom in deeper because that is the smallest unit. Turns out the universe also has pixels. It is called the Planck length, 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35 meters. The logic is minimum resolution. Science proves that you cannot divide space into something smaller than this limit. Below the Planck scale, the laws of physics break down and space-time loses meaning. In simulation logic, this is smoking gun evidence. A purely natural, real world should be infinitely divisible, but a digital simulation must have a minimum resolution limit, so the simulation engine doesn't crash when calculating coordinate points. Your POV, you try to see the world with the most advanced microscope in existence, and you are frustrated because the world is actually blocky at its base level. The Planck length is proof that our reality has a technical grid that limits the universe's image sharpness. So, what is the common thread of these 6 reality anomalies? Logically, our universe looks more like a data structure than a pile of rocks. The facts that reality requires an observer, double slit, suggests rendering efficiency. There is a resolution limit, Planck length, suggests hardware limitations. The speed of light acts as a maximum limit, suggests a universal processor clock speed. There is instant entanglement. Entanglement suggests that distance is merely visual code. We often feel that this life is very serious and real. In fact, science is slowly beginning to pull back the curtain and show us that we might just be running a script that has been very neatly written. Understanding these anomalies isn't meant to make you paranoid, but to realize that if this world is a simulation, then the rules of the game can be understood and perhaps utilized. Thank you for watching until the end. If you like how we explain complex things to make them make more sense, don't forget to follow Synoptic. We will continue to discuss many everyday things that are actually fascinating as long as they are explained the right way. Synoptic, the world simplified, one thought at a time.